The year was 1939. War was spreading across Europe, and rumors whispered of a new kind of weapon, a weapon of unimaginable power. Scientists, soldiers, and world leaders all knew one thing: whoever unlocked the secret of the atom first would decide the fate of the world. This is the story of that race, and how America crossed the finish line first. It began with a letter, just a few pages of words, written by scientists who feared what they had discovered. Those words reached the President of the United States, and in that moment, the course of history shifted. Scientists discovered a new kind of power hidden inside the atom. Splitting it released energy beyond anything anyone had imagined. Some of the world's brightest minds, refugees from Nazi Germany, realized the danger. They feared that if the Nazis built a weapon using this power, the consequences could be catastrophic. So they wrote a warning, a simple letter, and sent it to the President of the United States. It was a plea, a call to action. This could become a weapon that changes the world. The message set in motion a race that no one could have predicted, one that would stretch across continents, through secret labs and massive factories, and eventually into the skies above New Mexico. The United States moved quickly. The government decided that this was too important to leave to chance. The Army took control, building a secret program that stretched across the country. At the helm were two men, General Leslie Groves, who ran the project with military precision, and J. Robert Oppenheimer, who gathered the best scientists and led the work in the labs. To build the bomb, scientists followed two roads, one to find and enrich rare uranium, the other to create a new element called plutonium. Each path was difficult, each filled with uncertainty, but both were necessary to reach the same goal, a weapon that could change the course of the war. Massive factories rose at Oak Ridge and Hanford, while a hidden laboratory took shape in the New Mexico desert at Los Alamos. It was a race against time, a race driven by fear, ambition, and the knowledge that the world would never be the same again. It took thousands of people to turn an idea into reality. In Chicago, scientists built the first controlled chain reaction, a quiet, crucial success that proved the power of the atom could be harnessed. Across the country, enormous factories rose in secret. At Oak Ridge, uranium was enriched. At Hanford, plutonium was produced. These were places no one outside could visit, massive machines working silently toward a single goal. Meanwhile, deep in the New Mexico desert, a hidden laboratory at Los Alamos became the heart of the project. Here, scientists worked late into the night, scribbling equations on blackboards, testing ideas, and solving problems that had never been solved before. It was a place where science became an army. Every person, every calculation, every experiment was a step toward the weapon that could change the world forever. To turn their work into a weapon, scientists followed two very different paths. The first was a uranium bomb called Little Boy. Its idea was simple, like a cannon, firing a critical piece of uranium into another to trigger a massive explosion. Straightforward, but powerful. The second was a plutonium bomb, called Fat Man. This one was far trickier. Plutonium didn't behave the way uranium did, so scientists had to create a precise, timed squeeze, an implosion, to release its energy. It was complex, risky, and had never been done before. Both bombs were built in secret, each representing a different approach to the same goal, harnessing the unimaginable power of the atom. The success of either design would mark the next step in a journey that was about to reach its most dramatic moment, a test in the desert that no one would ever forget. On the morning of July 16, 1945, the New Mexico desert lay still and silent. The air was dry, the horizon endless, and the tension almost unbearable. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers waited, knowing that what they were about to witness could change the world forever. The countdown began. Each second stretched like a lifetime. Hearts raced and eyes were fixed on the distant tower where the bomb stood, ready to release energy that no human had ever seen. Then, in an instant, a blinding flash tore across the desert sky. The ground shivered beneath their feet. A towering column of fire and smoke surged upward, brighter than the morning sun. The light reflected in the eyes of everyone watching. The explosion was not just a test. It was a revelation. The immense energy, the unimaginable destructive power, had been unleashed in a controlled experiment for the first time in history. J. Robert Oppenheimer later recalled that moment with words that would echo through history. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." That morning, the atomic age was born. A single flash of light had opened a door that could never be closed, and the world would never be the same again. The race that began with a warning letter had reached its most dramatic and terrifying moment, a moment that foreshadowed the choices, consequences, and moral dilemmas that were about to follow. Just weeks after the Trinity test, the power of the atom was brought into the world. On August 6, 1945, a uranium bomb known as Little Boy was dropped on the city of Hiroshima. 3 days later, on August 9th, a plutonium bomb, Fat Man, struck Nagasaki. The impact was immediate and overwhelming. Tens of thousands of lives were lost in an instant, and countless more were affected for generations. The human cost was enormous, and the pain left a wound the world still carries today. Leaders of the United States made the decision to use the bombs to end the war quickly and, in their view, save lives that might have been lost in a prolonged conflict. Historians continue to debate these choices, weighing the urgency of ending the war against the scale of destruction unleashed. The bombs worked as intended, but their effects went far beyond military strategies. They changed the world forever, marking the first use of nuclear weapons in human history and signaling a new era of unimaginable power and responsibility. Germany had also explored the idea of an atomic bomb, but their efforts never reached the finish line. Resources were scarce, the war was chaotic, and their scientific work was scattered and uncoordinated. The weapon they feared would never materialize in time. Yet, not all secrets stayed hidden. Some information from the Manhattan Project was leaked to the Soviet Union through spies, including Klaus Fuchs and others who passed along critical scientific knowledge. These revelations gave the Soviets a head start, accelerating their own nuclear program. By 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb, marking the start of a new chapter in the nuclear age. What had once been the exclusive power of the United States was now shared by another superpower. The world entered a tense new reality, one defined by the threat of mutual destruction, secrecy, and a fragile balance of power. The success of the Soviet program also sparked a nuclear arms race as nations raced to develop more powerful weapons and delivery systems. The Cold War was no longer just political or ideological, it was a race of scientific and military might, where the threat of annihilation loomed over every decision. The first atomic bombs had changed the world forever, not just in Japan, not just in the laboratories of Los Alamos, but across the globe. New powers were rising. The balance of nations had shifted, and humanity was forced to confront a reality it had never faced before. Knowledge could be both a tool for progress and a weapon of unimaginable destruction. Years later, someone asked Albert Einstein what weapons would be used in World War III. He paused, then said quietly, "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." What do you think was the most surprising part of the race to nuclear power? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to learn how the Soviet Union became a nuclear power, check out our video. The link is in the description. Don't miss it. And while you are there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up. It really helps us keep going, and I really appreciate all of you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.